What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so much for joining me on another beautiful day. Today, we are reviewing the 2019 Z900. Probably the direct competitor, the closest thing I could see to the FZ09, which I know lots about because I own one. So this is the 2019 model, non-ABS, 4-cylinder is the only thing different, I'd say. So this is a 949cc 4-cylinder, inline 4-cylinder, just like a Super Sport, just like a sport bike, 600,000. And it's pretty. One thing I noticed, so I look at these bikes in the showroom, you don't notice the little things like you do when you see it out in the light. Because I've always been a Yamaha fanboy, so I haven't taken too much look at these bikes, but it is very good to know what the competitors have. Because believe it or not, there's quality everywhere. But what I really like about it, like, I love how the gas tank slopes down, so it humps up. And honestly, if you look at it from this angle, it reminds me of a Scorpion. I don't know if that's their design policy, or I don't know if that was their design objective, but it looks like a Scorpion to me. I dig it. All right, so let's hop on this thing, see what it can do. So it is a 4-cylinder, like I said before. So I'm not expecting, you know, I'm not expecting the torque that I'd have on my my FZ09, which is an inline 3-cylinder. This is the inline 4, just like I said, a Super Sport, but it is almost 1,000 cc. This is a 950. This is no joke. So we're gonna get started now. So one thing I really like, I've ridden the Z650. These things have incredible turning radius. It is just insane. I love that. Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, so let's get started. So I just got off the CB1000, which is an incredible bike. If you guys haven't seen that video, please go down. Please go check that video up. I'll put in a little key tag right up here. Go click that. Check it out after this video, of course. So first off, before we get started, I want to say thank you so much to Charlie and Nate up at Westside Motorsports. If you guys are in the Spokane, Cheney, basically Eastern Washington area, I just want to say, go up, talk to those guys at Westside, and they'll help you get started on a new bike. They're very knowledgeable. They've been helping me a lot out. They've been letting me test ride bikes, doing what I love, and, you know, most of all, creating more content for you guys, and I love it. I'm so thankful. So now we are on the Z900. 4 cylinders, the inline 4. I'm not used to that. Like I said, I just got off the Z1 or the CB1000, and that thing I was expecting more low to mid-range. So I want to see if this thing has some low and mid-range torque. That came on at like $6 grand. My FZ comes on to like 4,000, and you're like instantly like, holy crap, hold on. So I'm just gonna go to 3. Screw it. So 3,000 RPMs, and I'm just gonna gas it. I'm gonna give it 3/4 throttle. This is a brand new bike, got 24 miles on it. Let's see what we can do. Holy! I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting that much pull from 3,000 RPMs. Like, you better hold on, because that thing's gonna throw you for a loop if you're not ready for it. Wow! I was not expecting that. That is incredible. That is incredible. This thing's tuned for that low end torque as a naked bike should be. That's what I'm expecting from a naked bike. It needs to have that low end mid-range torque, because this is a hooligan bike. This is a hoonigan bike. Just hoon around on your streets with your friends, do wheelies, hop up curbs, all the stuff like that. Like you do on an FZ, like you do on the Zs. That's what they're for. They're around town. I'm not expecting the high-end horsepower, even though I'm guessing this thing has more horsepower than my FZ09. It also does have an extra cylinder and 100 more cc's of engine. So take that with a grain of salt. Take that as you will. But the caveat, it does weigh 460 pounds. The CB1000, which is a direct motor from the CBR 1000, yes, an older generation, makes 125, 130 brake horsepower to the wheel. This does not have that pull like that upper in the upper RPMs, but also I don't think it needs it. Does it feel like it weighs 460 pounds? The CB1000 weighs 460 pounds. Does it look like it weighs 460 pounds? No. The FZ weighs 410 stock. Mine probably weighs under 400 pounds now with the exhaust modification and just taking off various bits here and there. So I'm going to turn around right up here. We're going to flip around the other way. Make sure no one's behind me. It's probably not the smartest place to do it with a blind corner right there. Oh well. We're going to flip around. I can tell this thing would sound really good with an exhaust. What? That has some power and it's so smooth. That is way smoother. That is way smoother than my FZ09, like tenfold, and it has that torque and that power that you would expect from 4 cylinders. It's just a lot flippin' smoother. It took a tune, an exhaust, to become anywhere near this close to smoothness, and that's this thing in completely stock form, that smooth. That's impressive. But one thing to me about inline 4 is that I personally, this is not everyone, I personally believe I've never ridden a liter bike. I've never ridden a liter bike super bike like a CBR 1000 or an R1, GSXR. I've never ridden those, so I can't speak for those. But I have ridden R6, GSXR 600s, you know, CBR 600s, stuff like that. And they lack the character to me. They lack character, these inline 4s. They also, granted, don't have the torque this does, because those things are literally meant from 10, like basically 8 to 10 grand to redline to 16 or 17 grand just to be rocket ships. Everything other than that, useless. That's why I would never, me personally, I would never own a 600, ever. 600 sport bike, not my style. I don't want to go super fast, but because I have to go 100 miles an hour to have fun. I have to rev it to 10,000 RPMs, but even in first gear, that's 50 miles an hour. This, you have that torque from 3 grand all the way up to redline, which looks like around 11,000 RPMs. That's incredible. I was way more torque than I'm expecting. From my butt dyno and from the pole on this thing, I'll bet this makes around 110 horsepower, 110 brake horsepower, and probably around similar torque figures to my FZ. Around 60, I'd say, maybe 55, 60. I will post the figures on the screen right here because I'm not 100% sure. But just from my personal experience from riding bikes, I'll bet it's around there. And even with that extra weight, I feel like the extra weight brings stability. The springs, the front forks, didn't say, I looked at the specs online, like just Kawasaki brand shocks, but they're fully adjustable front and rear, which I think every bike should have if you're gonna ride it like one of these. It should be fully adjustable to your likings. I am a person who likes to tinker on my bike, so it needs a fully adjustable suspension. And coming in, this is the ABS model, the D900 ABS model, and it comes in right around 8,700, right around there, MSRP, which is not bad. FZ09, the new MT09s, they start at 9 grand now. And yes, I haven't ridden the brand new FZ09s, but I can't imagine they're too much different than the 2014 like I have. With ABS, they're probably suspension's a little better, it better be, and it just looks different. But this thing's really good. One thing I noticed, the seat is pretty stiff. It's very stiff, I'll be honest. It is not that comfortable of a seat. And I am short. I am 5 feet 8 inches tall, and my legs are really, like, way more than I expected, crunched up, just like a sport bike. I feel like this is how I felt on CBR 600 or the R6. My legs are past that 90-degree angle, which is, I don't know. For me, that's not super comfortable, but if that's your style, then okay, that's your style. And another thing, I am 5 feet 8 inches tall. A lot of people ask me that on my videos. I feel like they can tell that I'm short or something. I am 5'8", about 150 pounds, 140 pounds, and I can flat foot this bike, both feet. On the FZ, on almost every bike that I've ridden, naked bikes, the CB1000s, or, you know, sport bikes, I usually have to, I usually just use one foot and put down one foot and just lean on that side, so I'm leaning on that foot. All right, so we're hopping on the freeway now. I'm just curious how this thing will hop on the freeway. I'm guessing perfectly good and more than powerful enough to do it, so let's give it a shot. Wow. That is some power that I was just not expecting. I cannot believe how much power this thing has. Yeah, it is a 950. So yeah, I should, but I just didn't believe it would have that much power. It's got more power than my FZ. I guarantee it does. I just believe it does. It just feels more powerful. Maybe it's because it's smoother, maybe, but it was coming up, the wheel was just floating in second and third gear. Had some power, and even now, like, oh, this thing unleashed with an exhaust and a tune, I feel like she'd make some numbers. Pretty impressive numbers, to be honest. And to me, like, a big thing about this, being like, I'm a spec sheet warrior. I look at that stuff. When I'm looking for a bike, I'm checking out spec sheets. I look at reviews online. That's very important to me. 460 pounds sounds scary coming from my FZ09, which is 50 pounds lighter stock. 50 pounds, that's a big deal. But I don't notice it. I didn't notice it as soon as I put my leg over it, because it's so, I feel like such a lower center of gravity because the seat's so low. You don't notice that extra weight. You notice the extra weight when you're up higher. Like, my FZ is lighter than this, but it feels identical or even more weight just because it's got a higher center of gravity. This has got a lower center of gravity, making you feel lighter. So if that's like a deal breaker to you, if you're small, 467 pounds is not, it doesn't feel like it. It does not feel that heavy. One gripe I do have on this thing though is the brakes. These brakes are, I feel like for this much power, these are not enough brakes. That's a gripe I have. The seat is not great. That's another gripe. But these brakes, for this amount of power, I feel like it just needs more brakes. And I don't feel like you need ABS. That's just my personal preference. So we are hopping on I-90, heading back up. That thing has some scoot. It's got some power. Okay, please. 6th gear. No problem. Wind noise, or the wind, yeah, it's not great. No naked bike is going to be good on the freeway past 60 miles an hour. It's not going to be comfortable. I'm used to it. It's what I ride every day. So, yes, but it's not comfortable. It's not great. You're going to be feeling that wind. Sooner or later, it's going to be like, oh my gosh, this is annoying. Your head jerks back and forth sometimes. Semi drops by, but that's just something you have to live for if you ride one of these bikes. I feel like I just passed a cop. Luckily, I wasn't speeding. So, in conclusion, for $8,700, would I buy this bike? Personally, I would not. Personally, I don't know. I'd have to test out a stock FZ09. I haven't ridden a stock FZ09 in such a long time, I couldn't tell you. But from stats standpoint, from the things that I feel like I've noticed, from standpoint as of the brakes, things I'd have to upgrade instantly, I don't remember feeling like that. I am not entirely confident in these brakes. Maybe they just need to be broke in a little more, which is entirely possible because it has 35 miles. These brakes are shite. They are no good to me. For this much power, this thing's a rocket. It's a rocket. I don't even think the CB1000 didn't even feel like it had this much torque. Man, on the stats, on the spec sheet it did, but it just, because you had to wring it out so much more. This thing, it's got torque everywhere. It's impressive. Once again, I want to thank Westside Motorsports for letting me ride this bike, letting me come out here and test ride these bikes and just have a good time, review. Like, it also helps me. Maybe I can't say I'm gonna have my FZ forever, so it helps me figure out maybe what my next bike would be. So that's it for today, guys. If you have extras, if you want to see any bikes in the future be ridden, let me know and we'll take them for test rides. But that's it for today, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.